Okay, got to put a quick pause because we do have a guest I want to get to, because Canada did avoid those broad-based tariffs from President Trump this week. But thousands of workers in Windsor, Ontario are already out of work hours after auto tariffs kicked in.
Canada got the best of a series of bad deals. I don't think this is time for celebration. It's a time to fight those tariffs. It's a time to protect our workers and the companies affected.
We have two choices here, folks. We either roll over and let this guy run us over with a cement truck 15 times because they don't care about us, or we get up and fight like we've never fought before. I believe in the latter.
Well, those tariffs hit hardest in Windsor, Ontario, known as the automotive capital of Canada, and where Stellantis has closed the plant for at least the next 2 weeks. Windsor Mayor Drew Dilkens joins me now. Mayor Dilkens, good to talk to you again. Thanks for being here, sir.
Hi, David.
What have the last 48 hours been like in your city?
Well, it's still a lot of uncertainty, and so we thought Liberation Day was going to be a good day where we had certainty on the numbers, and I suppose we do now. But in terms of the impact to my community, it was immediate. Seeing that Stellantis is putting over 3,500 people on layoff for 2 weeks starting on Monday, and that's going to cascade through the parts sector. That is going to cascade through auto plants and parts sector in the United States and all the way down to Mexico. And this is just the start of what you're going to see happen. What was predicted to happen from the very beginning, that you would see these closures happen almost immediately in the auto industry and the parts sector.
When we talked to James Stewart, I believe he's the president of Local 444, Unifor, the other day, he told my colleague Rosemary Barton that there's a layoff factor of 8 when these jobs go, like the ripple through the supply chains. Is that all largely in your area, or is that spread throughout North America? When the 3,000 that go down, another 20,000 could go with them.
Yeah, that impact factor is huge, and it's in the community, which is why we all want to see auto plants and auto production in our communities, because the spinoff is so dramatic for these well-paying jobs. And so you will see this, again, cascade through the parts sector, because you don't need people making parts for cars that aren't being made. And ultimately, it will cascade all the way down to the Tim Hortons with the person pouring coffee, because those auto workers are going to make their own coffee at home in the morning. Everyone's saving money, pinching pennies, waiting for this rainy day. The rain has started falling. They're just hopeful that the umbrella pops up and, someone makes a smart, sensible decision to turn the tap off and stop the rain sooner rather than later.
Okay, I don't want to be grim, but by the end of these 2 weeks, I mean, we hope the plant comes back online, but we don't know, given everything that's happening. I mean, what are you bracing for in terms of job loss just in Windsor over these 2 weeks of the shutdown?
Well, I think the original projection was that you could see 30% unemployment in a very short course of time. And so that would basically double what we saw in the height of the Great Recession, where we had almost 16% unemployment. When Chrysler went bankrupt, needed saving by the federal and provincial government, we had folks flying to Alberta for work. And so it's more dramatic than that. And certainly if it has a global impact, I think we're not quite sure where the bottom would be on this front just yet. But we're staying optimistic. We're hopeful that the president is seeing what's happening. How can you miss what's happening in the stock market? And this will play out as dramatically on our side as it's going to play out on their side in the U.S. When the parts sector starts closing down here, and you see 25% tariffs on auto parts, which are purported to be coming by the president. You're going to see a wholesale shutdown in fairly short order on the U.S. side, and layoffs there and job losses there, which I don't understand how he couldn't react to that happening in his own country.
Yeah, Flavio Volpe has said in our many conversations throughout this, the lead up to this, that the whole North American sector could just be shut down within a week. I mean, if he does go ahead with it on parts in particular, with the way they cross the border so many times and the retaliation begins, I mean, is that where you think it's headed?
That's where I think it's going to get the most attention. Of course, no one wants it to go there. But to your point about the integration, and Windsor and Detroit are the two best examples of integrated communities on either side of the border, and those parts that cross the border 6, 7, 8 times for continuous improvement until they're put into a vehicle that rolls off the finish line in Windsor or Detroit. And so something that affects us here negatively absolutely impacts Detroit and vice versa. And so we're just going to have to watch this play out. It's unconscionable to me and to everyone who lives in my community to think that this is where we're at with our largest trading partner, that even though we looked originally on April the 2nd at his announcement in some sort of favorable way that we didn't see reciprocal tariffs, you see the impact. And this is just the start. I mean, even the stock market, this is just the start. The first 2 days with people's and companies' initial analysis of the situation. we haven't actually seen the financial pain yet. Those ships from China and elsewhere around the world haven't arrived to receive those tariffs. They're not showing up in terms of the pricing on the shelves. That's still to come. That's just going to make everyone's life more difficult. And so the best thing that could happen here is that the pain is felt in the United States as quickly as possible so that the president is forced to react to legislators, governors, mayors, and to the people in his own country that are going to say enough is enough, Donald.
Yeah, Congress kind of needs to start doing its job and take its authority back and stop letting one guy sort of blow up the world economy. But I don't know if that's going to happen with a Republican majority in the House. But, you know, we've got this temporary situation, what we hope is a temporary situation, Mayor Dilkens. But General Motors confirmed today it's increasing domestic production of the Silverado and the GMC Sierra at their Fort Wayne plant, normally made in Oshawa, right? So here they are, ramping up production on the U.S. side to avoid these tariffs. I mean, if this goes on for a long period of time, how worried are you that this becomes what we see more and more across the auto chain?
Well, listen, I'm worried for my country. I'm worried for Ontario. I'm worried for everyone who lives in my community. This isn't good news any way you look at it. And I think that the outcome of this, just, my understanding of politics is the president, and certainly watching the president, the expectation is he's going to need some wins. In order to take an off-ramp, he's going to have to show that his policy was effective in some way, shape, or form. He gets a couple wins. And then someone somewhere in the auto universe is going to say, listen, Mr. President, this has just been catastrophic for our industry. And so we've ramped up, we've dialed up production of the Silverado in the United States. You can take a win on that. And at the end of the day, that's one piece of the puzzle that they can deliver to him. But before they get anything material, like moving wholesale auto production from Canada back to the United States, you're talking about a couple years before you'd actually see anything really happen in terms of reopening a plant and fitting it up and putting all of the equipment in there that's needed to build vehicles. This is 2 years down the road. So how much pain is this man willing to take and put his country through, and frankly the world through, before he accomplishes his goal of liberating the United States and creating the golden age? Yeah,
and with their 4.2% unemployment, do they even have a workforce that could take these jobs in the United States, right? On the scale that the president is counting on here. But anyway, that's applying a rational analysis to it, I think. I wonder, Mayor Dilkens, Mark Carney said, Canada got the best of a bad deal, though not suggesting in any way this isn't a bad deal. Doug Ford said today, he directly mentioned you, saying his government would be there to support you. What do you need as mayor? What do the people of Windsor need from the federal and provincial governments over the next little while?
Well, the premier has been great, and he has made, in no uncertain terms, told me, don't worry, Drew, we're going to be there for the people of Windsor. He's conveyed that message very deliberately in all of his public remarks. And I know he has the back of workers here in Windsor and Essex County and throughout Ontario. So that's great. On the federal side, it would be great to get this election over and then get the government governing again, getting back to the table with the United States to figure out what the future looks like on our trading relationship, which we're going to have to do. We're not going to be shipping everything all to the European Union or the other way to Asia. You may be able to pull a couple levers and do a little bit more, but at the end of the day, we need to figure out our trading relationship with the United States to get stability and certainty for the next, 3 years and 9 months for sure, but even further and beyond that.
Do those negotiations need to happen even if the tariffs are still up? Because it seems like we don't know what Donald Trump's pain tolerance is for this, right? And the midterm elections are not till 2026, right, when Congress could flip back. I mean, no matter what the state of the trade war is, you need to get in there and try to negotiate an end to all of this ASAP?
On day one, I think it's imperative that we figure out what this trading relationship looks like moving forward on day one. We can't wait. We're the small partner in this trading relationship. We don't have the benefit of time, nor do we have the same amount of leverage that they have in the United States. Sure, we have some pain points that we can apply, and I'm sure if it gets to that point, our Prime Minister and the team will do that. But at the end of the day, we have to recognize that we are good partners. We have been good partners, but we're the small brother in this trading relationship, and we're going to need to figure it out. They are our largest trading partner in the U.S. We share the world's longest undefended border. They aren't going away. We aren't going away. And frankly, when I look at the auto industry, we have built what we've built together. And that's not just in the auto industry. There's probably examples from coast to coast in our country where we have built great things together as two nations. Yes, there's disruption. Yes, you have a president who isn't using fact and perhaps acting rationally in some of his decision making. But we have to work with that. We have to figure that out and get the teams together and sort out how we're going to work out, deliver our economies on behalf of our communities and build two great nations together.
Drew Dilkens, the Mayor of Windsor, we always appreciate your time and good luck. Good luck to you and your citizens. Thank you, sir.